Hi, and welcome back to Everything Hormones. I'm Dr. Ramsey, and I have a really interesting guest today. I can't wait to share some information with you. And as you know, I do a prayer before we begin. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together today and for the gift of teachers who inspire us to care for our bodies that you have entrusted to us. I especially thank you for my guest whose passion for yoga has helped me in so many ways, and other people as well, with strength, peace, and balance. Lord, thank you for the hormones that you've designed to help our bodies thrive. I know that without restoring my personal hormones, I would not have the strength or energy to step onto the mat and experience the physical, mental, and spiritual blessings that yoga has brought into my life. Bless our conversation today. May it encourage others to care for their bodies with wisdom, to move with gratitude, and to seek health in ways that honor you. May every listener be reminded that caring for our health allows us to better serve you and those that we love. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Yeah, so John Salisbury is here. So John owns a yoga studio that I love. I know a lot of you ask me, how do I stay in good shape? He's the reason. In fact, you've been open for 10 years, modern yoga. I've been with you for 10 years. And before that, at Lifetime Power, you taught
Yeah.
Shay and the 101.
Yep. Lifetime Fitness, but Life Power was a spinoff.
Lifetime, yeah. And I was going, all of a sudden, nobody's in class anymore. I'm like, where is everybody?
Yeah.
And I was directed to your studio. And that's when the room was really small. You've expanded several times.
Smaller, but
Yeah.
I mean, we've expanded one time the first year, and we expanded a lot, and now it's sometimes too big. It seems it's a big place.
Mm-hmm.
3 rooms.
But you have so many things now that you
Yeah.
offer, like
Yep.
Pilates and the sound healing and
Yep.
a lot
Yeah.
more things.
More yin classes, and these are things I wanted to put on the schedule for a while. Yoga's great, depending on how you do it. Like anything, it can be incomplete in some ways, and sometimes it just means that people can't do certain things.
Yeah.
So that form of movement is incomplete for them.
Mm.
So, and then there's certain things that I think people shouldn't do. Things that could be unsafe. So over the years, I've really gone from thinking it should be a certain way, or not like the only way, but like this is the best way.
Mm-hmm.
To now kind of thinking more like, well, what's best for this person? What's best for this person? And there's so many
That
different
must be
people in
hard.
class.
Yeah.
I just suggest, hey, don't do this. Do this if you want to,
Mm-hmm.
and let people make the decision. But sometimes I'll just tell them, I don't really think that's a good idea, and there's no reason for it. People feel obligated to do things that everybody else, to keep up or whatever. It's like they have to do what everybody else is doing, and
Right.
and that in and of itself is just a misunderstanding of what they're trying to achieve, their own abilities, not recognizing those abilities. Could be an egoic thing where they
Right.
want to stay
Mm-hmm.
in touch with the younger crowd in a sense, so
Mm.
they stay feeling young. And really the best way to feel young is to recognize, I think, kind of like your age and what's best for us at this time,
Mm-hmm.
and do what's best for us so we don't get hurt.
Right.
And then we can't keep up because we're pushing things too much. And
Man, can I relate? Because I had one hip replacement. This one needs to be so badly replaced. So I'm trying to get into goddess. And I'm like, I can't do this posture. I mean, I try and then I just stand straight up, and I'm hoping people aren't following me.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is I don't want to throw people off.
Yeah. I appreciate that too, because some
Yeah.
people don't care.
Yeah.
Some people just do whatever they want to. They don't care who's watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this girl, I saw her the other day. She's a contortionist.
Yeah.
She twists her body in a pretzel, and it's so beautiful to watch, but I would never attempt anything
Oh
she
my God,
does.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah. But yoga, without yoga, I wouldn't be sound enough to even do my work.
Mm.
I mean, I've been through some lawsuits and stuff like that, and yoga has always just kept me even keeled.
Yeah.
It brings me confidence even to deliver the messages that I have for people. So I really appreciate you. You have no idea.
Yeah. Awesome. That's
Like
great.
you give
That's
us
great.
all this space, to be our
Yeah.
best self.
Yeah. And a lot of times I don't ever find out about the effects that the class or the class has on people, or how people have benefited from anything I say. I don't mean to say anything in particular, but I really, really appreciate when people do come back and say, "Hey, that changed me," 'cause I don't know exactly, I hope,
Mhm.
and I'm just saying things sometimes that just pop up in my head, and it's taken me a long time sometimes just to believe in whatever pops up in my head. Because a lot of times I'd hold back and not say certain things, and I kind of, discriminate between what I ought to say, not to say, even if I make a joke. I'm like, "Do I
Mm.
wanna make this joke or not?" So make a decision really fast in real time, like, "Is this a good idea or not a good idea?"
You always
But
seem
I really
so
appreciate it.
authentic. And something you said the other day, he said, "Savasana is the art of relaxation."
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah,
I thought it was so nice. I brought
something
that
yeah,
with
the
me.
art of stillness.
Stillness, Savasana, which is dead man's pose at the end of class.
Yeah, yeah,
And you do the bowls, and it's just so relaxing.
yeah,
I'm so restored. I go in, like, when I'm in your class, I'm inside. I'm not, like, except for that contortionist, I couldn't
yeah,
help
yeah,
but watch her,
yeah.
you
That's
know?
great. That's
Mhm,
kind of the goal.
mhm.
I try to often, refer back to some of my own experiences, and, one thing, that I've said as of late is that I'm very guilty of watching and looking out a lot, and, I notice that, when you're busy looking out, it kinda pulls from you.
Sure.
It's, like, almost stressful,
Mhm,
or I could even get a little anxious, like, "I'm gonna miss something. I wanna miss something." And
mm.
I tell you, it's so much more peaceful to be able to really have the ability, which I never had, to tune everything out and just be right there. It's, like, so
So you never had it
nice.
before yoga? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And I had to build uh, the skill. I had to build a skill over time. I started to notice it when I would play golf.
Right?
Because I was always so worried about who was watching, or if I'm
Ah,
gonna hit, people walk up, and we get self-conscious and nervous, and you can be like that in class. You can be in class, you think people are looking at me, and I look so terrible, my
mm,
pose is so bad, or I'm so tight, or they're gonna laugh, and what will people think? And we get this self-conscious, and I'm like,
mm.
"Why am I so self-conscious? Why are we so" and it
So you've gone through
messes
this
everything
yourself.
up. It messes everything
Yeah.
up when we're so self-conscious, we can't focus on what we're doing. So I noticed that I started to have this ability to well, first of all, I just didn't wanna look. I was like, "Just don't look at them,"
Mm,
and I just block everybody out,
mhm.
and I started to notice that I could actually focus better if I would just block everything out, and I didn't know it was possible for me to do, and then it just started happening, and I completely attribute that to yoga.
Yeah. I would too. I would too.
Yeah.
Um, so you started your own studio
Mhm.
10 years ago,
Mhm. 10 and a half, yeah.
and I believe you got into yoga because of your father. Am I right?
I got into yoga because of my real father,
Mm,
my biological father, hit one of his friends, and it was just kind of a strange thing.
mm.
My stepdad had already been practicing yoga since I was maybe like 15. People think, I've been doing yoga since I was like a baby,
Right.
but he didn't even start practicing yoga till I was like 15. That was like maybe 1985. So he was truly one of the first practice in a living room with his teacher. There were no yoga studios.
Yep. Yep.
So I was in California with my real dad. I've been with my mom till I was 18, and my real father's like, "Come live with me now," and I agreed. So I was out there, and he was a very strong Christian. Um, he was like a deacon and then a pastor,
Mm,
and then he was, just working for the church in other ways. And we went from different denominations.
mhm. Yeah.
So I was raised Catholic, and then he was an Episcopalian, and next thing I knew, we were Lutheran, and then he was Baptist. So anyway,
Mhm. Wow. It's
he
a
went
lot.
to Hawaii as he did every year, and so I was at home, maybe like 19 or 20 years old, and I could have been there by myself, but he had a friend who was in need, kind of in between houses, sold a house, he had a bunch of stuff in storage, and he just gave him a place while he
Mhm.
was gone.
Stay.
So just hang out for a couple weeks. And he knew my father pretty well, and he was a little bit war beaten. He was in military in some capacity,
Yeah.
this man, and he was a little intense at times, but a really good guy. And, he never argued with my dad, but he definitely had different opinions about things, and he gave me a book called Autobiography of a Yogi,
Sure. I have it.
Paramahansa Yogananda,
Mhm.
and I read the first 100 pages, in the first night.
Wow. It drew you in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to pick out in there, but
Mhm.
obviously he starts to explain things about a lot of things, but partly about Christianity,
Mhm.
and he said things in a way that I've never heard before, and it made more sense.
Yeah.
And I felt like for the first time I was understanding my own religion,
Right.
and I had always felt a little bit disconnected from the religion. Um,
I did too. I was raised Catholic, and I didn't
yeah,
learn really much.
I mean, baptized. My grandmother's brother was a uh, a monk, like a Santa Barbara. Forget exactly what they called it, but a monk, a certain type. My grandmother, a lot of faith, a lot of, my mom, I mean, her as well. I can go on, we can just go on for forever on a lot of different things, but my father was, again, just, more of like the kind of, not new age, but different from Catholicism.
Right.
Episcopalian is not much, but
Mm.
Lutheran, Baptist, very different.
Yes.
So I got this book, read this book, and it just kind of blew my mind. So I called up my stepdad and told him what I was thinking, and he gave me like 3 or 4 more books to read. And so I just plowed through those books.
Mm.
Eventually, I decided to move back home, and that's when I started practicing under my stepdad. I was like 22, and he
Wonderful.
was teaching Ashtanga yoga,
Mhm.
which is very different from Kriya
Mhm.
yoga, which is what Paramahansa Yogananda,
Right.
um,
The book.
does. And I gotta say, I think probably Kriya yoga is closer to the idea of a kind of yoga that can take us to enlightenment more than anything else.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think, like, that is the truth beyond truth beyond truth.
Mm.
Like, that is the way, but it's very difficult to find a teacher,
Mhm.
and, you can go to Self-Realization Fellowship.
I've been there.
I've been
Yes.
there too. It's
Yes.
lovely, wonderful.
Mhm.
I like it a lot, actually. I felt pretty good there, but, anyway,
Mhm.
in the meantime, and I think there's a path. I do believe that we are drawn to do a certain path for certain reasons,
Absolutely.
and you have to just kinda go along with it, and, this is where I was led, and
Right.
teaching yoga was never the plan, but it became the calling, I guess.
I can relate. Being a physician was never my plan. I never wanted to be a doctor. I
Yeah,
loved being a nurse. When God has plans for us, we show up, and
yeah,
I think we're brought to the place where we're supposed to be.
yeah. A lot of people come to yoga and they may not like it, but then eventually, but they know they got to do it, or they want to do it, or they need to do it. Um, I I was never like, oh, I love this.
Mm.
I just felt that I had to.
Interesting, because I love it. It's
Yeah.
never hard to go to class when I'm
Hmm.
in town. That's an interesting but now.
Yeah. Now it's very different for me personally.
Mhm.
But back then, it was like I would have fits in my head about going because it's a discipline.
Sure it
And
is,
if I'm
sure it
at
is.
work all day,
Mhm.
and then, I'm in my 20s, and my real father was very much a fun loving kind of guy. My stepdad was much more disciplined. I too am also more like a fun loving guy. Like, I want to go have fun and
Right.
play and party, and being disciplined was very, very
Mhm.
difficult. But this what I felt I had to do. And it wasn't like yoga. I thought of like this physical exercise discipline. I was thinking something very different in
Mm.
terms of why I wanted to start with yoga. I just knew from the book that it was something that I had to figure out or had to experience,
For you.
had to get
Yes.
into.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So,
beautiful. Our role models and how we get to where we are.
yeah.
So what I enjoy about your story, number 1, I was raised Catholic, and I went. I didn't kick and scream, but I certainly didn't learn as much as I am as a Christian. I'm a new Christian, actually. And it's really given me more purpose in my
Mm,
being.
mm,
Kind of like, yoga as well, but it gave me the purpose of stillness and focus and strength and mindfulness. I can't tell you how much yoga has given to me. Is what a gift. And I wish more people like knew about it. But in 1996 is when I went to medical school. That's when I graduated. So 1990, I was looking for a yoga studio in the yellow pages. This is before we had electronics. And there were 2 studios open half time and it didn't work with my schedule. So now I'm going to travel with my husband and I find a book at the bookstore and it was about yoga, Bikram yoga.
mm,
Didn't know who Bikram was, had no idea, brought it with me. I'm trying these postures, not knowing what I'm doing.
mhm,
And then from there, we went with this family over to the Seychelles Islands. And there, all the women did Bikram yoga. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. So I learned a little bit. When I came back, I'm driving down Scottsdale Road. It's raining. There's so many cars. I just turn off because I don't want to be in this traffic. I look to the left and there's this little handwritten sign, yoga today, 4:15. So I went. Me and one other person were the first 2 people, and I just truly fell in love with it.
mm.
And that was in my 20s. I'm 62 now, but that was in my 20s. And I am so grateful for it as a not only an exercise, but a mental practice as well.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I tried, the 26 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
and, I don't even know that I knew it was called Bikram, but Sintra taught it,
Yep. It's
and
interesting.
only because my stepdad taught, an Ashtanga class in the studio, like, twice a week.
In Sindra's or in?
Yeah,
I
in
didn't even know
Sintra's
that.
studio, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanna say it had to have been her studio, it was so long ago,
Like
it was
First
like 35,
Avenue.
40, it was probably, like, almost 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. It was in Old Town.
Yep. First Avenue, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was.
Old
That's when I was with
it's funny
her.
you say First Avenue, like Avenue, and
Yeah.
yeah, but,
Old Town.
that's like Miller and Indian
Mm.
School.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was her very first studio, and now she sold and all of that.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's really made me able to do what I do. I have to say that
yeah,
because of the focus, and I think people who live stressful lives could do well with yoga.
mhm,
I really do, and just like you, like, I don't tell people they need me, like, you don't tell people to do yoga. I try to bring as many people as I can just to expose them.
yeah. I
Mm.
think, I've I mean, so we were talking about Sumit earlier,
Mhm.
I know that he would just, like, just get people and drive people off the street, just say, "Come, come to,"
He does,
and
yeah.
I've never been much of a salesman like that, and I have invited so many people to come, and it is so rare that they come
Yes.
that I don't really tell anyone to come anymore. I just figure they're gonna find their way. If they wanna do it and they're compelled to do it, they're gonna find their way.
Yeah, I
If
think
they
you're
wanna
right.
come, like students that it's their birthday and their kids will come because it's the birthday and they're happy to do it, but
Yes.
that's it. And I just hope that they have a good experience. I just figure, like, down the road, they might revisit,
Mhm.
so, like, planting a seed, and that's it.
Mhm.
There's
That's right.
enough, like, yoga's out there enough at this point that everybody's heard about it, and, if they feel drawn, it's kinda like a calling. If they feel
Mhm.
called to come and practice, they will,
Mhm.
and, I've also realized that they may come and not like it.
Mhm.
They may not like me. They may not like see, the thing about playing music is it has a taste, and people may not like the taste of music that certain teachers play, including me,
Yeah, you do
and they
play some
may not come
interesting.
back. They may
Yeah.
not come back because of it.
Yeah.
I do play what I enjoy, but I also play, stuff that people haven't heard. A lot of it's electronic. I do manage the music as much as possible. Sometimes it's really fun and turn it up, and other times I wanna keep it low. So, it's there's a whole thing to managing the environment,
Mhm.
but, I mean, even it
Yeah.
could be like, too many down dogs, too many holding poses too long, or maybe, other places, it's too hot. We don't do hot yoga, but it could be too hot.
Right.
So many if you just
'Cause you're
don't
not used
know
to it.
why a person comes back, doesn't come back, um, you never see them again. They come for like 10 years and you never see them again. You have no idea why unless they reach out and tell you. But so anyway, if somebody
Yeah, I
is
don't even hear the
interested,
music sometimes.
they're gonna find their way over to us.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
anyway.
sometimes I don't even hear the music. Tom and I were talking about that. I'm, like, in such a space that it doesn't even really matter what's going on
Yeah.
around
Yeah, well
me.
that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the best
Mm.
actually. When
Yeah.
it's just back there and it's not in your face and it's kind of pulling you out of what you're doing.
It
And
could.
when I'm at home practicing, you know what I listen to?
What?
Nothing.
I do that a lot too. My kids make fun of me, "You drive like this, no music on in your car."
I don't yeah, I kinda just don't.
Mhm.
I will
Yep.
turn the radio off in the
Mhm.
car, and I mean, I would pump, just blast it when I was younger. You know,
Me
sound
too.
system,
Yeah.
big 12 speak, you know, 12s and woofers and magnum.
Right.
Now is the silence.
Yeah.
Silence is so
That
great.
centeredness is important. And that's why people come to me is to be their best self as they age. Being strong as you age prevents
Yeah.
broken bones and all of that stuff. But, do you know anything about who we don't never talked about this before, but do you take hormones in any way?
No.
Yeah, you're probably not old enough, but that's what I do as a specialty.
Yeah.
And in 6 weeks, people feel stronger, more balanced, less stressful. I mean,
Mm.
because when our hormones are off, it can create a lot of havoc in our body.
Right.
So that's how I feel about yoga. If I'm not at yoga enough, it wreaks havoc in my
Yeah.
body.
Which is funny because, recently I've been trying to find the poses that are the most beneficial, and shoulder stand and headstand are 2 of them, like,
Mhm.
the most beneficial, but
Really?
how can we get people into those poses safely and also just not go up for 5 seconds and come down?
So let me ask you this. I can do a headstand, but
Yeah,
my chiropractor tells me not to.
yeah,
Maybe it's my neck. I don't know
mhm.
but
My mom would get headaches when she did headstand, but she
mm,
has, I think, a more fragile neck.
mhm.
My mom had a fragile neck, and, she would do Ashtanga with my stepdad. It's a hard practice, a really
Yeah,
hard
Ashtanga.
practice,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But she would do it, and it's funny, she'd come to my class sometimes, like, much, much later, and I'm like, "She has a pretty good practice, like, she's pretty solid." Yeah, headstand would not work for her, so
Mhm,
she had to stop. So then the next thing is, well, how can you invert? And so there's contraptions you can get, whatever. But,
mhm,
I try to tell people that, 1, you don't want any pressure on your neck if you're building strength.
mhm.
So you have to get the support in your shoulders, and you almost wanna push your head off
Oh, so it's
the
not really
floor.
pressing on your discs.
See, for me, I can do it because my neck is really strong,
Mhm,
and I was a wrestler. You're rolling around on your
mhm,
head. I worked out a lot. I'm a guy. I don't know if any of those things make a difference. They have to make a difference. But also I understand how to take pressure off my neck. So if I'm inverted for a while, if you're inverted for a while, because I have a teacher that I've only been with once, but had a great impact on me, and I'm dying to get back with her. She's in Italy, but I met her in Brazil. This is my last teacher, Gabriella, and we were doing headstands for like 10 minutes.
Wow. Well, if
She
you
would
know how
do a
to take the
headstand for
pressure off.
40 minutes.
Oh my.
40
So why
minutes.
is the inversion posture so important?
So pineal and pituitary gland,
Mm,
and you're upside down, all the blood rushes here, stimulated, then you invert, and that stimulation, whatever the blood supply takes, whatever it gained from the glands and brings it to the rest of the body. That's one
interesting.
idea. And then the thyroid from the pressure and shoulder stand, we're like this
Mhm.
inverted,
Yeah.
then you come out of that, and that also
Mm.
flushes those hormones back to the body
Yeah,
to
because
regulate.
out of shoulder stand, when I put my knees, like, on my head, I can't breathe. I can hardly breathe.
Yeah,
It's
and you
hard.
have to breathe
Yeah,
comfortably.
and then
You
I get
gotta
out
breathe
of it if I can't.
and also because of that, it we call it a cooling posture. Because you think about it, you're not breathing as deep.
Mhm.
When you are breathing deep, you're building heat. So if you start
Mhm,
doing then
mhm.
you're cooling down. So
Right.
shoulder stand's supposed to be a cooling posture, but it could also be considered a calming posture. It can be done in the very beginning of class.
Mhm,
If you're all like and you wanna calm down, or you can do it at the end of class after being stimulated to
mhm.
calm back down. Also, ready for Shavasana, which it's you can't really do Shavasana if you're
Yeah,
like this,
exactly.
so you have to
Hyperventilating.
calm down, cool
See, I
down,
never knew
and
this.
then
Makes sense.
and then you can be in Shavasana. Otherwise, you're in Shavasana like this. If you're still stimulated, which is really tough with a flow class because the times are so short nowadays,
Mhm.
we have very little time to like wrap it up. So I've been, saying things like, breathe through your mouth open till you feel calm enough to
Right.
close your mouth,
Mhm,
which you should have. The mouth should be closed, but you want to breathe normal. And
mhm.
people will still keep going. They keep breathing like this, even in Shavasana. I'm like, no
Mm.
more. And
Mm.
I can just tell their mind is busy. So
Yes.
they're not calm. And the breath is still part of it. So stop all that, calm down. And when you're calm, you can actually relax
Yeah,
and find the stillness that we're talking about.
right. right.
anyway, but shoulder stand and
And
headstand.
headstand.
And I mean, it's just a matter of like maybe you don't go up all the way, but you just walk up on your feet and tilt. And you can still
Mhm.
keep your head floating off the floor and receive the benefit because
I'm
you're
gonna have to
upside
try it.
down,
Yeah.
but you want to be upside down for at least a couple minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna try it next time.
And you don't just come up, right? You go to child pose after.
Mhm. Great pointers. I mean,
Yeah.
great pointers on mind body medicine,
Yeah.
healing, wellness, aging well, all of that stuff is what we talk about
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But the biggest reason when people, ask me how I stay in shape, it's not just the hormones and the way I eat, it's this. They feel intimidated because they don't feel flexible enough. And I know I'm not flexible enough. I used to be before my surgeries, but um, it's strengthening as well. It's calming as well.
Mhm. I don't wanna say this exactly like this, but I almost think that flexible people don't need yoga.
Is that
They need I mean, as we think of it, they need a different kind of yoga. Could still be the yoga practices, but maybe something that's more strengthening. Because I have a lot of flexible friends that did some other type of strength, and I'm not saying, you start doing, CrossFit or something like that.
Mhm.
It depends again on our age, our abilities, safety,
Yeah.
how we do it, how we are exercise how we're not performing, but,
Mhm.
practicing these positions that we're throwing our bodies into or doing.
Yes.
But it's difficult for flexible people to learn how to pull back. Whereas
That makes
a tight
sense.
person, that's a person who can benefit from some type of yoga or stretching or whatever, because they're trying to find more
Very good.
mobility. So is there too much mobility or too little mobility?
Nice, nice. That should help.
An inflexible person needs to become more mobile.
Right.
But now it's a matter of like how they're practicing these poses. So if they're just pushing into a pose, then it's going to be very, very frustrating. So I really try to give people the understanding of how to position their body in order to lengthen it.
Mhm.
And it all starts with the legs and the pelvis.
Right,
And
right,
then we can
right.
go to the upper body from there.
Mhm.
And when I say that, I just mean it's how you're folding over or how you're standing up and how the position of the pelvis is.
Yeah, you focus a lot about
Yeah.
this week. And there's 3 different women who've come up to me in class afterwards and asked me how I got so strong. Now they're patients,
Oh,
and they're
nice.
on
Wow.
hormones, and they
Uh-huh.
feel better going to
Yeah,
yoga,
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
really nice, really
Mhm.
nice.
That's great.
Yeah. But I think, you being a pioneer, going through your story of how it happened and how you had to force it in your 20s
Yeah.
is just so interesting, and now you're where you're supposed to be,
Yeah.
like me.
I
Yeah,
definitely believe that. Yeah,
yeah.
that feels nice.
Mhm,
Being a business owner is not all it's cracked up to be. I
mhm.
wouldn't even have done it. But it definitely felt like it was time
I
to do
agree,
it.
yes.
And, luckily at the time, my wife was a little more business savvy, or she
It's
had
good to have that.
resources, and she was, very well, resourceful in achieving setting everything up, resourceful in finding the right friends to talk to, and setting it up. She wasn't a
God
college
bless.
graduate or anything, but
Yep.
she's smart as a whip and very, has a lot of follow through when it comes to, doing what needs to be done, and this needed to be done, so we did it. And it went a lot better than I expected, I
Mhm.
guess. My stepdad would always tell me that I should, but I was like, "Man, I'm not a I don't like or enjoy the business part."
And if
Uh,
it's not for your wife, do you think you would do it?
yeah, I don't know.
Mm,
I probably would have found somebody,
yeah.
but I don't really want a business partner. I've seen too many people go in together, and eventually one buys the other one out.
Mhm.
They can't agree on something, you got too many cooks in the kitchen kinda thing,
Right.
and so it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, look at
It
how
just
big
doesn't.
you've grown.
Yeah,
I love it. Does your wife
yeah.
come to the studio?
My ex does not,
Mm,
come. She has.
mhm.
She's poked her head in. She doesn't really do yoga much anymore. She may still do a little bit. There's a hot yoga studio around the corner from her.
Mhm.
But, she was always, very, very active. So,
Yeah, owning business isn't for the faint at heart, I will
no.
tell you that, as you know,
Mm-mm.
as you know. But, I can't imagine what made you one day just say, "I'm gonna do this."
Mhm.
Was it was it gradual? Was it overnight?
No, it was gradual. You kinda just I procrastinate. when I don't wanna do something even if it's
Mm,
good for me,
mhm,
and I'll do it when I have to do it. But sometimes, it's probably that's probably the best timing as well.
mm.
I think people jump the gun also and do things too
Force,
soon.
yeah,
They force
exactly, yeah,
something and do it too soon instead of waiting.
mhm.
It's kinda nice to have this, like, opposite, um, avenue where I'm pushing it off because I don't want to until you finally force like, the universe is like, "You're gonna do it." And you're like, "Okay, yeah, okay,
Yep,
I'm gonna do it."
yep,
I mean,
yeah,
everybody has their reasons, for whatever they do. I stayed a long time in the group that I was with when I mean all the teachers. You don't want to leave something that's working, and I never wanted to think of myself as, like, above or whatever, anybody
mhm,
else. I felt like I needed the group, I needed the team.
yeah.
We had a lot of good teachers, and I'm like, "Who's gonna follow?" But it finally it's funny because 'cause I'm like, "Who's gonna follow me as far as students go?" If I left this group of teachers, amazing group of teachers I'm in,
Mm,
if I left, what students are gonna follow? A lot of them are gonna stay. They had all these great teachers.
yeah.
And then I decided to leave, and it's funny, the teachers were like, "We're coming with you." I just we come teach a
That's
couple
so
classes.
beautiful.
We come teach a couple class. I'm doing this. I'm out. We come teach a couple classes, and they're like, "We'll teach all of our classes." They wanted out
I
as much as
love
I did
that, I love that.
because we're in the corporate world. And
Mhm.
and yoga, there's a teacher a while back, it's kind of a famous teacher, and as a Ashtanga guy, but he said, that, yoga doesn't work in the corporate world, and I think he's right. As far as corporate world controlling the
Sure,
yoga and thinking they
yeah,
know what's best for yoga
and
and
they don't
yoga
even do
students,
yoga, the
but
corporate.
yoga's good for the corporate people. Yoga's
I
good for them,
Mhm.
but corporate's not good for yoga.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you.
it's
I see it, yeah.
yeah.
I was teaching about peptides recently and BPC, which is a healing peptide. I'm not sure if you know it. Like you have an injury, it really helps you heal. And one of the participants said, "But I hear it increases cancer." I said, "It will not cause cancer." She goes, "Well, we always have cancer cells." I said, "Yes, we do, but we're also getting rid of them,
Mhm.
through our sweat, through our mind, through a lot of things. And if we think we're going to get it, and she didn't like my answer, but it doesn't matter. Like you said, there's
Yeah.
people who love us, people who don't love us.
Mhm.
But it's just how we wrap our mind around things.
Yeah.
And thank you, John, because you have a safe place for me to go,
Yeah.
clear all that out, and become my
Absolutely.
best self.
Well, it just it's this idea of just perpetuating thoughts. And,
Mm.
one of my friends actually says something. I mean, it's funny how you just hear certain things and never, ever, ever forget them.
Mhm.
And I'd never, ever heard anybody say what she said. And it's very simple, and it may not even be surprising. It's just at the moment when she said it, I'd never heard anything like this before. And she said in the very beginning of class, she said, something to the effect of, notice what you're thinking about. When you notice it, there's a pause, and try to make that pause. They call it, the gap or whatever,
Mhm.
make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is a way of separating this run on of thoughts.
Yeah.
And for someone to know that they can actually stop for a moment and put a gap in there, not just
Mhm.
go from one thing to the next,
Yeah.
is truly the practice,
Mhm.
and still it's difficult. You can know all about it and still it's difficult. You could just get lost in another story. I
Yep.
used to listen to Buddhist podcast, Buddhist talks when I was practicing yoga sometimes, and I remember one guy talking about meditation. He said, "Well, what was your experience meditation?" And he came, "Oh, I had a story, and I just watched the story happening." And I was like, "Oh, that's very interesting that he saw a story, huh?"
Hmm.
I wanna come because I didn't think that I had a story. This is just my life, and I thought,
That's
it's
interesting.
very interesting that he saw a story he was
Mhm.
telling himself. I'm like, "Huh, it's just interesting he's doing that." I didn't, realize that I'm telling myself a story
All the
we all
time.
are telling
Yeah.
we're all telling ourselves this. The fact when you can sit back and actually watch it like you're watching a movie, like you're just observing the story going
Mhm.
on.
Outside of you.
But certain things, just like a movie, you can go, "I'm in a movie." But other times you're, watching the story, like, "Oh, wow." And you get involved in the story until you realize, "Oh, wait a second, I'm not actually in that story." That's exactly how our brains work.
That's crazy. So, I had some trauma. I lost a loved one, and I did a DMT ceremony, which is Bufo. You may or may
Yeah,
not
yeah.
know what that
Mhm.
is, but during it,
The toad.
mhm,
Yeah,
I realized we are full of stories,
yeah,
like, period. I'm like, I am not telling stories anymore.
yeah,
Living my truth, showing up in purity, and,
yeah,
but I got to see that firsthand, the stories.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I have heard about that. I never experienced it
Mhm,
myself, but I can. When you have that realization that we're nothing but full of stories,
mhm.
for one, and that you can actually change the story.
That's right, and I
Two,
love that part.
yeah, and that the stories can be interchangeable with anybody.
Mhm.
You start to kind of wonder, well, how fragile is the personality that I have? And so you hear about people with dementia and Alzheimer's. Now, I granted they're losing their mind,
Mm.
not creating a new
Yes.
whatever. That's a
Mhm.
little bit different. But still, I mean, it's like, I was an actor. I
Ah,
graduated from ASU as a theater major.
nice.
I'm not going to say I was a great actor or anything, but I learned a lot. And I think part of the authentic part was because of acting,
Mhm.
because I would be acting something out, and my teachers would say they don't believe me. They don't believe,
As
like,
an
"I don't like,
actor, yeah.
I don't believe what you're saying. I don't believe." So you're
Mhm.
because I didn't
You're just saying it.
believe, I'm just saying,
Mhm.
and then we're just kind of like acting out what we think we should be. Like, I didn't understand what acting was. And acting is losing you
Yeah,
to become someone else.
that's true.
And to be able to do that, you have to disidentify with yourself. And that's what I didn't know how to do. I was like, well, yeah, the character would feel it, but I'm not that person.
You're playing it.
I'm just, and that's why I wasn't a fan. I
Yeah.
saw kids when I was in school do it. I saw them lose themselves and become whatever this, and I was like, don't they know this isn't true? Like, how ridiculous of a statement is that to be an actor and then say that?
Right.
But that is exactly
What
what
you
you
need
have
to
to
do
do
to be
is
good.
believe
Yeah.
100% in that thing to
Mhm.
become that thing,
Mhm.
and that's it's completely lose this and become that. Jim Carrey, talked a
Yeah.
lot about enlightenment and everything, and he said he played all these different parts, and then he started to wonder, well, what's the difference between my personality and this
What
person
I'm
that I'm
playing.
playing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he realized that it's all just nonsense. So the
Mhm.
story is not us. The watcher of the story is. Our ability to be more conscious in just observing and watching and
Like
not
Eckhart Tolle's talk.
identify.
Mhm.
And that's what yoga talks about is disidentify with the mind stuff that's happening,
Mhm.
the chatter that's happening.
Yeah.
And yoga goes on to define or break down all the different ways the mind operates. And you have to know what that is first
Mm.
to recognize it,
Mhm.
to see it.
Right.
And it's just a little bit of training, a little bit of awareness,
Mhm.
and then you can
And
start to pick
practice.
out and practice, and you can start to pick out certain things. I was like, oh, I know that one. I'm not going to listen to that one.
Mhm.
And where'd that voice come from? That's a crazy. Why would something so negative pop up in my head? That's not even what I want to hear,
Exactly. Yeah.
or it's
Delete, negate.
bananas. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Delete, negate.
yeah.
So if you have a high stress job, a lot of responsibility, and you want to improve upon your mind body health, I recommend checking out yoga. I love modern yoga, with John owns and teaches that. He's got a lot of great teachers there too. Please reach out because it has made my life complete. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.